Namaste, and welcome to your pregnancy yoga series with Body Talk. I'm Katy Appleton, the founder and director of appleyoga. Today's flow we're going to be doing on all fours and then coming up to standing. This is conducive for all trimesters, and we'll be working with release and freedom through the body to get rid of any of those niggles and aches that may be happening in pregnancy. So come on, we're going to go on to all fours. So take the hands shoulders width apart, press the first knuckle down into the floor to really root the palm down into the floor and prevent any hanging in the joint of the wrist. And then take the knees wider than hips width, particularly if you're in your later trimester. And we're going to start to move the hips from side to side, just freeing up the sides of the hips and eventually the lower back. And moving in circular flows. Just allowing the hips to move in any direction, whichever way, but often best in circles. And these actions just help to free up the lower back between the lumbar joints, the lower back joints. Again, in pregnancy, they tend to get a little bit more compressed as the baby develops and grows and the body leans forwards. You get more of a lower back curve. And moving into the opposite direction. And just noticing that your ribs will probably come in for the party as well, as will the head and neck, and really allowing the spine to be free, imagining that it was like a piece of seaweed or a sea anemone in the ocean. So you almost have no bones in the body and you're just literally getting into some of those tight, sometimes sweet spots inside the back area. We're going to move forwards and backwards into cat-cow now. Inhale. Lengthen the collarbones broad, and then as you exhale, root the shins and the fronts of the feet into the floor. Draw your baby up towards you, saying hello to her or him. And again, in breath through the nose and out breath, opening up the space between the joints. You can also come onto the finger tops here, which sometimes is really useful if you have something in the wrist joint called carpal tunnel syndrome, when there's a lot more fluid in the body in pregnancy, in breath, looking forwards. Sometimes there's a little bit of compression or numbness towards the end of the pregnancy inside the wrists because of that extra fluid. So being on fingertips and keeping less flexion in the joint will help. Moving forwards on the in-breath, and last time on the out-breath. We're going to stretch and open the side of the body. So please tiptoe the hands off to the right side of the floor. You'll feel the stretch all the way down the left side. Take a deep breath into that stretch. Have your knees wide enough to support your bump as you draw your hips backwards away from your hands. Exhale. So it's like a pulsation. You inhale to lift a little bit, and you exhale through your nose or mouth to release. Last time. So taking one more round, take an inhalation and traction your hips away from your hands. Exhale. Come forwards onto the hands and walk back to your center. We'll repeat that to the other side. Look forwards, in breath. Root your sit bones down to the back of your knees. Gently draw your baby towards you and come onto your fingertips. You might like to stretch out the back a little bit here. Oh, that feels good. And then tiptoe the hands off to the left side or the other side of your mat. And then take an inhalation, making sure your knees are apart enough so your body, baby, can feel comfortable as you traction your hips back away from your hands. Exhale. Couple more rounds of breath, ladies. Inhale. Feel a hugging of the arm bones, nose or mouth to really release. Exhale. So you can feel the stretch all the way down for most, the right side of the body or the side that you're leaning away from, opening up the fascia, the connective tissue of the body there, releasing any tightness. So coming back to the center, and we're going to move into what's called goddess pose. So turn the toes underneath you, lean backwards onto the feet, pick the knees up off the floor, and as you do so, clip your heel back together again, and then taking your hands to your thighs, if you need to keep them on the floor you can, and then lift the sternum upwards. So again, we're here strengthening up the feet, working a little bit on balance, drawing your baby gently towards you, and taking the breath easily and naturally. Notice the eye line is directly in front for balance. And then we're going to come back to the floor, walking the hands forwards and into the second part of the flow. So hands again, shoulders width apart, whole hand rooting down. Bring your leg to the midline, and we're going to take some leg circles or hip circles. So circling the leg in towards the body and then back out and away. Rooting the opposite shin bone into the floor and the hands into the floor, and arms are strong and straight as you do this action. So you're not relaxing and letting go as you move. This works with the hip joint, creating mobility in that area, but you'll be delighted to know also a little bit of tone to the buttocks. Making this your last one, and then we'll draw the knee in towards the body if you have space, in breath, probably for first and early second trimester. Out breath, lengthen the leg behind, toes down, draw your baby in towards you. If you're in your later trimester, draw the knee to the outside of the arm, hug in, head down, palms down, leg down, exhale, leg back. Take the foot down to the floor, place the heel down to the floor, and then bring the underneath leg back. For balance now, take that hand underneath your shoulder directly, and take the hand onto your hip and turn to the side. Stretch out through the waist, create some space, look up or down for balance. Lift the arm up, in breath, and tip over to the side, out breath. Press into that hand to lift up through the side body. One more circle, ladies. Inhale and exhale. So again, toning and creating space for the side of the body. Finally, on this side, we're going to move into a pose, half a squatting position, called open pose. So draw the foot in towards. You can have the foot flat on the floor. If the heel's raised, that's perfect. And then lean forwards to open up through the groin area. Breathing here. So again, a conducive position in preparation for labour. And then moving the body backwards to an all fours position. Final side. The other leg comes into the midline for stability. The hands are underneath your shoulders, knuckles pressed down. The hip circles or leg circles, breathing as you go. Arms strong and straight. The leg that's supporting the floor, press it down into the floor. And toning around the buttock area. And then drawing the knee either in or to the outside of your arm, in breath. And as you exhale, arms strong and straight, collarbones broaden, toe down to the floor, draw baby in towards you. In breath, if you're in the later trimesters, draw the knee on the outside of the forearm, upper arm, and exhale. Take the foot down to the floor, heel down to the floor, press into the whole outer edge of the foot, and take the other foot back behind you. Take the hand underneath your shoulder, and take the hand onto your hip. Press down to lift the heart up and away from your baby to create space. Taking the arm out to the side and up, in breath, root down into that opposite hand to stretch through the side body. Circle the arm across the face, inhale. Nose or mouth, exhale, drawing baby towards you. And then draw the foot in towards the body, coming into that open position. We'll only be here briefly, so you might feel a little discomfort underneath. And then taking the hands to the floor, taking the breath in through the nose, relaxing the pelvic floor muscles, relaxing the jaw, and coming forwards. And you can move in any direction that feels good to the body. It may feel a little tangy though, tangy being like a stretching sensation. So use your breath to release into that sensation. Great. And we're going to come back to all fours, and then we're going to come up to standing. So lean back, bring your knees off the floor, And it's really important when you're coming from floor to standing that you're stable. So widen the feet enough so you've got a strong, steady base, taking the hands onto the thighs and come all the way upwards towards a standing position. If you're not lightheaded, take the arms up to the ceiling. If you are, simply take them out to the side and into prayer pose. And exhaling. Namaste, and thank you for watching this pregnancy yoga series. To subscribe, please go to Body Talk. And we're going to take a little bit of a side bend flow. So take the arm up and out, inhale, and then bend over to the side, exhale. You can rest your elbow against the thigh and root it down to lift the sternum up, to stretch right over.